guessing who it might be. The main character clarifies the details. The audience recognizes some fragments of the drawing, but does not understand who is depicted in it. Viewers in unison start writing outrageous messages towards John because he portrayed a male character as a female character, which is not entirely satisfactory to people. The main character reads his friend's comment, where he reports that fans treat the characters with great trepidation, and the guy took it and turned everything around. John stands up from his seat, looking intently at the screen of his phone. It turns out that only a couple of commentators are setting this negative tone. A guy writes in a general chat with a couple of his friends, asking to protect him in the chat. Then one of them asks for moderator rights in order to clean up the inappropriate ones. The main character thinks that now his friend will do the comments, and his job will be to draw. A moderator with the nickname Thick-Skinned explains in the chat what Batten asked the audience to convey. After this, he sends many gifts for the streamer and continues to do his own thing. John smiles contentedly after seeing the cranky spectators banned by Pachyderm. Suddenly, his acquaintance joins the broadcast and asks to apologize for being late, after which he sends a gift. The guy opens his mouth in surprise. This is an attraction ring worth $450,000. The Ring of Attraction is launching a lottery, in which users will need to go to his stream to participate. The main character grins contentedly, realizing that now people will flock to the broadcast. John takes out his brushes and by adding speed to his hands, begins to paint. People are delighted with the speed and beauty of the work. They praise the guy and give him compliments. Loaf takes out the third sheet, thinking that it's time to move on to the next drawing. The main character is happy that more people have come to his broadcast. There are already more than 1,000 people. We need to start working. John begins to draw, moving his hand faster and faster. It seems to the audience that the guy turned on a sped-up video. In a couple of minutes, the guy loses more than half of the people. Apparently, people are not ready for such a speed. The main character asks the moderator to keep people on the stream. Otherwise, they will completely run away. John writes slowly on the paper, asking whether the audience likes this speed better or not. Pachyderm starts sending messages one after another saying that this is a real broadcast. The guy hopes that the spectators who left will soon return. All that remains for the main character is to continue drawing. A stunning girl was painted on canvas. People are sending admiring reviews. The response is not bad, so we need to continue. This time John will not reveal all his cards at once. Let them guess until the last. Soon the main character finishes drawing the character again, and the audience is again surprised by the guy's abilities. What follows is an illustration of a short-haired girl, which also causes a storm of emotions. After her, a new person is portrayed. People praise the streamer, praising his abilities and work. John draws another long-haired girl, receiving more and more comments on his drawing. The number of spectators is again more than 1,000, although it is already 10 o'clock in the evening. The guy decides that he should end his broadcast soon and start working on the last character. The main character quickly glances over what people wrote in the chat. Surely most teenagers don't know the last hero, it's worth educating them. Viewers are trying to guess who the streamer started working on. The drawing is stylistically different from others. Some guess the character. Some do not understand who is depicted on the canvas. Loaf slowly stretches, straightening his stiff arms and straightening them above himself. He says goodbye to subscribers, and says that tomorrow he will broadcast again, which will be dedicated to a different type of character. John discovers that many offers of cooperation and words of encouragement have been sent to him in private messages. The main character decides to evaluate the results of his stream by looking into the gadget. Even though he now has only 500 subscribers, this is a pretty good result for the first time. The guy earned about 1,000 during the broadcast, and now he is level 10 on the platform. Now the highest level is 40. You will still need to work hard to reach it. John hopes that in 2 or 3 sessions he will be able to complete the first stage of his mission. He imagines running after the girl he likes at the stadium. Standing behind her, the guy says he finally caught up with Kathleen. But suddenly the girl says that she tries to stay away from liars like him. The main character is very upset by the memories. He really wants to know whether his beloved is very angry with him. He decides that if he sees Kathleen on her morning jog, he will need to explain himself. But for now he has an evening run waiting for him. The next morning at exactly 5:30, the alarm on John's phone rings. He arrives at an empty stadium, realizing that the girl is not there today. The guy assumes that Kathleen is now avoiding him and considers him a bad person. He tries to soberly assess the situation, because John is nothing to her and because of him the girl couldn't stop running. The lady probably has something to do today. The guy needs to stop stressing himself out, because he needs to complete the task. The sneakers tell him that a distance of 5 kilometers has been covered, with about 4 more to run. John decides that there is no point in postponing, so he doesn't stop there and continues on his way. Having completed the route, he falls on his back, trying to catch his breath from the heavy load. The second stage of the task is completed. The main character receives a boost in strength and additional points. In the evening of the same day, he comes to the workshop to conduct a new stream. Suddenly, a man appears behind the guy and calls him by name. It turns out that it is Julia, who asks him if John has finished working on the illustrations, since he has enough time to broadcast. He replies that he wrote down a number of sketches and was just planning to go to the teacher tomorrow and give them to him. The main character hands the woman a stack of sheets and says that he made about 70 sketches. Julia is shocked by what she hears and sees because this is a huge amount. She says that these sketches should be enough, still not believing her eyes. The teacher doesn't understand how a guy manages to draw so much. John smiles slightly and replies that he has plenty of time in the evening. Julia says she watched her student's stream yesterday. She saw artists practicing speed drawing, but his speed is simply beyond the realm of possibility. The main character scratches his head and thinks how to explain all this to a woman, because he cannot say directly about his new acquired abilities. She asks if the guy really plays by the rules. John is shocked. She probably couldn't find out about the system. Julia asks the student if he was using any third-party programs during the broadcast. He sighs with relief and thinks that the teacher really scared him. The guy smiles sweetly and explains that his mother trained her son much tougher than the rest of her students. She says his mom has hellish methods, making a face at the memory of that time. Julia remembers how she had to pick up the peas scattered on the table with chopsticks in 5 minutes if she dropped even one. Then everything would start all over again. The woman also drew with a bell on a pencil, which was not supposed to ring. A little later, weights were used. The teacher still remembers them with a shudder. John's mother said that this is how little Julia develops speed, stability, and strength, and when she grows up, she will thank her teacher. The woman swallows nervously at the painful memories. The teacher puts a knowing hand on his student's shoulder, not imagining what he had to go through. Leaving, Julia tells the guy that she will send the sketches to the author of the novel and asks him to wait for news. The time comes to the moment when it is time to start broadcasting. The phone is secured. Everything is prepared. The guy starts drawing. Some viewers ask him to remain silent until the end of the broadcast because sometimes it can be very unexpected. While working on the next illustration, viewers try to guess the character. This is a lowly broadcast. The sketch is finished. Some people can guess who is depicted on the sheet. The guy finishes the first drawing. Some are happy with this speed of drawing. Some, on the contrary, are unhappy with this. The audience is growing. It seems John has figured out how to surprise people. He draws a minimalist girl in the opposite style of his. Next comes a drawing of Peppa Pig, of course. She is also a little girl, so she fits the intention of the broadcast. The main character laughs joyfully because people joke in the chat, which he appreciates. The guy is already warmed up. Now he can speed up the pace of work. The loaf takes out several sheets of paper. You need to surprise your audience with new tricks so that they don't get bored. The audience is surprised that the main character decided to draw several sketches at the same time. He draws a lot of lowlies, and people try to guess who is on each sheet. John feels that the addition of strength helps him even in this matter. He has to put in less effort when pressing. The guy decides to analyze the statistics. Now 895 people are watching him. This is clearly less than yesterday. Although there is nothing enhancing in this, yesterday a large number of people came because of the attraction ring. Such gifts are not received every day. But then, viewers come to the stream only for it and not to participate in the lottery. With only 5 drawings left before the end of the mission called Illustrator, John invites his audience to draw more drawings. He takes out 4 more sheets in order to complete his plan as quickly as possible. Without any difficulty, the guy fills out the first 2 sheets and proceeds to the other 2. In the eyes of the main character, one can see confidence in his own actions. He decides that it's worth drawing 1 more drawing and the broadcast can be completed for today. John begins to work. The audience is in great anticipation of what will be drawn. The main character again draws a male character as a female, which is why fans are starting to be outraged. He ends the broadcast and leaves his anger in front of the audience without hearing anything addressed to him. Batten completes the second stage of the illustrator's mission, enjoying the rewards he received. Suddenly, he notices that his imagination is also increased. After this, more and more new ideas begin to appear in his head. A plus has also been added to the drawing skill. Now the main character will be able to make his drawings better. With such abilities, the guy feels like a Superman of the fine arts. Having received 100 points to his account, John decides to buy a magic pen, as planned. He remembers changing modes with 1 click and decides to try this feature. Suddenly, a circle with different modes of his new device appears in front of the guy's face. It can become a marker, pen, pencil, and even an eraser. With such a gadget, John is no longer a Superman, but a god of drawing. Suddenly, a message comes to his phone asking why the guy ran away so quickly. He didn't even tell the audience what to expect on the next broadcast. The main character agrees with his friend. He was in such a hurry that he didn't even inform about the next stream. John grabs his gadget and starts writing in some chat that tomorrow he will also hold a stream at 8:30, where he will draw characters with animal ears. He decides to look at how the result of his work turned out and goes into a special application. Only 130 were earned. But the guy does not despair, because in a fast food cafe called McDonald's, one could earn less. Batten is very pleased with how his mission called Master of Streams is developing. Half of the third stage has already been completed. Suddenly, a message from Julia arrives on the main character's phone. The woman transferred him 5,000 for illustrations for the novel. It seems it's time to move on to the spendthrift task. Arriving at the hostel in the evening, the guy sighs tiredly, talking about the fatigue of this difficult working day. Opening the door to his room, John notices something strange about it. Both of his neighbors have disappeared somewhere, which is completely unusual for them, so a little excitement appears on his face. Suddenly, the light comes on again, illuminating the room, and his friends and acquaintances appear in front of the guy and congratulate Batten on his birthday. The main character swallows nervously at the suddenness of these people's appearance. He asks to stop singing this song because the birthday will only be at Christmas last year. The guys joked about this many times. A blonde guy named Mark clarifies that this holiday cannot be celebrated exactly on the same day. Noodles explains that John has changed a lot lately, starting to run and broadcast, which he thinks is enough reason to celebrate. Daniel compliments everything that has been said with the fact that starting a new life is like being reborn. The hero looks upset at everything that is happening, not finding the right words. He thinks that this even makes some sense, because the guy managed to die and be reborn recently. Everyone enthusiastically clarifies whether they will celebrate, because they are already really looking forward to enjoying the chocolate cake. Batten agrees with satisfaction because this birthday celebration has much more meaning than all the previous ones. The guy sits by the cake, making a wish to become slimmer, stronger, and more charming. The main character blows out the candles, hoping that he will be able to become a better version of himself. Noodles offers to cut the cake, but John is not at all interested in that. He is doing something on his phone. The guy sends red money envelopes to his friends who came to the holiday, which makes them very surprised. He smiles sweetly and explains that he recently received a fee for illustrations, so now he doesn't mind pleasing his friends. Noodles smiles contentedly and thanks his friend for this. John asks not to touch someone else's, because everyone received an envelope. The main character hands over a piece of chocolate treat to Mark, thanking him for organizing this event. The blonde guy smiles shyly, saying that this is nothing for him. While munching on cake, Daniel asks the guys if they will go to the student's birthday party. Noodles replies that he won't be able to be there because he's going to the movies with his girlfriend. Mark also agreed to meet and exercise with a lady. John puts a piece of cake in his mouth and tries to say that he needs to broadcast again tomorrow. But suddenly it dawns on him and he asks if the party is dedicated to the Student's Day. Daniel looks at him with worry because the question was quite unexpected. With all the tasks from the system, Batten completely forgot about other important things. From memories of a past life, the guy remembers that Daniel was severely beaten at this party. After this incident, he remained very depressed for quite a long time. Suddenly, the hero asks his recently arrived neighbor if he is going to this party with his new girlfriend. The other guys are surprised by what they heard and say that their friend has already matured. Daniel wanted to talk about this a little later. John invites him to go to a restaurant. The money has already been paid and the table is reserved. He needs to broadcast, so unfortunately, there is no opportunity to go. He continues to talk about how the place is quite good. Noodles and Mark are shocked at the mere mention of this restaurant. The guys start coming up with excuses, which is why they won't be able to arrange their own meetings to get this ticket. Daniel says that the food in the restaurant is terribly expensive, and that's why the guy can't accept this gift. John says that the opportunity is very good, and if he refuses this offer, then their friends will gnaw each other's throats in the fight. The fair-haired and fair-haired friends look at their friend offendedly. Ultimately, the guy agrees to accept the opportunity to visit the restaurant with his lady, but agrees to return all the money a little later. The hero smiles good-naturedly and asks his neighbor not to rush into this. Having finished this dialogue, Batten heads to the bathroom, warning his friends about this. He latches the door and turns the faucet to turn on the warm water. After this, the guy calls his cousin to urgently reserve a table for tomorrow evening at a restaurant for his friend. She reports on the phone that a full set of dishes for lovers will cost $1,200. John thanks the girl and says that he will send the money now. The main character immediately sends money to his cousin's account to pay for Daniel's dinner with his lady love. Another $1,200 are sent to the Spender's Mission piggy bank. He helped himself and his friend. The task account has already spent about $4,400 out of the 10 needed to complete the first stage. Suddenly, the guy receives a message asking him to draw illustrations for a web novel. He immediately goes to the site to evaluate the author and his work. The numbers look quite impressive. John looks at the writer's page and discovers that he has about 100,000 subscribers. He likes to receive feedback from viewers on his streams, and viewers also like it. But spending paper and materials for the amusement of the public seems frivolous to him. If Batten started drawing sketches for short stories on broadcasts, then everyone could win. Thus, the guy could climb to the top of the illustrator's skill in no time. Having thought everything over, smiling, the hero decides to accept the invitation because it sounds quite profitable. He decides to show off, saying that he recently finished working on illustrations for a popular author. At the same second, the main character begins to receive messages of interest from this guy. He offers only two conditions, namely to be able to broadcast the work on the paintings, and the guy must be listed